Hare Krishna everyone, thank you for joining. Let's make a start. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jayo Gir Vardhari Jai Gopijana Vallabha Jayo Gir Vardhari Shodanandan Vrajjana Ranjan Shodanandan Vrajjana Ranjan Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Agyantimirhandasya Gyan Anjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Akadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishamcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sakana Raghunatam Nitam Tam Sadyam Sadhvetam Savadutam Prajna Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sutta Devi Pran Mami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatu Brehascha Kirpa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitana Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo 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 Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Parcharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Grim Yat Kirpata Mandashi Gurundin Taranam Paramananda Madhvam Chaitanya Ishram Hariham Tassat Narayam Namaskritya Naram Chevanautam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jamaduriyat Nasta Prashabdirish Nitamakshay Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Neshtaki Jai. Okay, so last time we were talking about the survival of the fittest. That's the system. Everybody's eating another jiva. You cannot eat rotten stuff. It has to, we when we eat something, it was alive, and now it's become our food. So same with the vegetables and grains, whatever we're eating, it's it has life. That's why it's fresh. It has life, and then we pluck it, and that's sinful. We're taking a life. We take lives every day, or we become part of the cycle where life is taken. But fortunately, because Krishna accepts grains and vegetables, then we can sanctify it, we can make it karma free, and then we eat that. If you're just eating food without sanctifying, without making it prasad, then you are barely eating sin, and you will get those reactions for eating sinful food. And what to say about eating meats, where you are killing animals of higher consciousness, and then Krishna doesn't accept those as bhoga and turn into prasad. So there's even bigger reaction there. So we have to be very careful. So this is a scientific process Srila Prabhupada given us, and we should make most of that. And we're talking about the different mentalities of people, the demoniac and divine. In the Kali Yuga, we are the demoniac and we are the divine. We keep switching over. Somebody has to just rub us the wrong way, and the demoniac nature takes over. Could be really divine. They think this person is the best. Never known. But until you rub them the wrong way, then you find out they have a demoniac nature as well. And you better make sure you run like that. So Krishna said that people who generally have a demoniac propensity, or they're like atheists, they don't believe in Krishna, he lets Maya deal with them. And those who are like devotees and worship Krishna, he takes care of his devotees personally himself. So that's the way. And we get all this information through Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. We must connect with Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, and make sure we have all the relevant information how to elevate ourselves. So now we're going to Shloka 50. So it's 10th today. On the 17th, we'll have an overview in the evening. No morning program on 17th, Wednesday. We'll have overview with Vishal Gauranga Prabhu. He's really good. So please do join. Excuse me. So, Nishpaditam Deva Krityam Eva Shesham Pratikshate Tavad Yuyam Avakshadvam Bhaved Yavad Ahishvara. So, Nishpaditam, performed Dev Krityam, what was to be done on behalf of the demigods, Aveshasham, the rest, Pratikshate, being awaited, Tavat, up to that time, Yam, all of you Pandavas, Avekshadavayam, observe and wait, Bhavet, may, Yavat, as long as, Iha, in this world, Ishvara, the Supreme Lord. So the Lord has already performed his duties to help the demigods, and is awaiting the rest. You Pandavas may wait as long as the Lord is here on earth. So this is Narada Muni explaining to Maharaj Yudhishthira. So the Lord descends from his abode, which is Krishna Lok, the topmost planet in the spiritual sky, in order to help the demigod administrators of this material world when they are greatly vexed by the asuras, who are envious not only of the Lord but also of his devotees. As referred to above, the conditions living beings contact material association by their own choice, dedicated by a strong desire to lord it over the resources of the material world and become imitation lords of all they survey. Everyone is trying to become an imitation god. There is keen competition among such imitation gods, and such competitors are generally known as asuras. So anybody who thinks they are God, they're trying to compete with God, they are known as asuras. When there are too many asuras in the world, then it becomes a hell for those who are devotees of the Lord, because they cause disturbance, these asuras. When there are too many suras in the world, then it becomes hell for those who are devoted to the Lord. Due to the growth of the suras, the mass of people who are generally devoted to the Lord by nature and the pure devotees to the Lord, including the demigods in higher planets, pray to the Lord for relief. And the Lord either descends personally from his abode or deputies some of his devotees to remodel the fallen condition of human society or even animal society. Such disruptions take place not only in human society but also among animals, birds, or other living beings, including the demigods in the higher planets. So Lord Krishna descended personally to vanquish asuras like Kans, Jarasandha, and Shishupal. And during the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthira, almost all the asuras were killed by the Lord. Now he was waiting the annihilation of his own dynasty, called the Yadu Vamsh, who appeared by his will in this world. He wanted to take them away from his own departure to his eternal abode. So Narada, like Vidur, did not disclose the imminent annihilation of the Yadu dynasty, but indirectly gave a hint to the king and his brothers to wait till the incident happened and the Lord departed. Okay, so one thing we could say that the Lord comes himself or sends his representatives to put things in order. Dharmstapana Arthaya. So he comes to restore order, and then you could say that people like Shishupal or comes or Hiranyakashipu, these were his devotees. So how come he comes to kill them? Well, one thing was that he wanted to fight, and secondly, you have to plant your people in there to stir up the asuras. The stewards, they need to go, but they really you have to get them to the boiling point where there's like no doubt now that they have to go. So these big asuras, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, like that, I could say that they have been planted here not just for Krishna. He wants to want to challenge, want some fighting, but to it's also an impetus to get rid of the others who are attracted to these asura mentalities, like to do it all together, just implanting your agents in there and then kill them all together. Like I said, Jarasandha, he was there, Krishna kept letting him off, didn't kill him 17 times because he knew he'll bring more people, and why not, instead of me going 1-to-1, why not let him bring a whole battlefield load of asuras and we can kill him 17 times, 17 times these different asuras. So the Krishna, that's how he operates. That sometimes he would, in the mood of fighting, he will plant his own people there and stir up the asuras, so he can get rid of their mentalities. But everyone is God's children. He only kills them so they have another chance to try again, because now in this lifetime they really don't have any chance of turning back. They've just gone too far with the sinful activities. If they take birth again or get liberated, then at least they have something. Otherwise they'll just keep causing havoc. So they say that somebody who's like really stirring things up, it's better if they die, because they're just accumulating more sinful reactions otherwise. Okay, so what does Srila Prabhupada mention? Narada is giving the hint the Pandavas should also pray to leave. He's hinting that the Lord may leave soon, so when they do get the news, they will not be so shocked. So he's hinting to them that you stay here until the Lord is here. He said that in the purport. Srila Prabhupada mentioned. And so they got an inkling that when the Lord goes, then it's our time to leave as well. That's the cue that now we have to also leave. So 51. Dhitrashtra saha bratra gandharaya cha sva bharaya dakshinena himvat Rishinam Ashramam Gataha. So Dhritarashtra, Saha along with Bhratra, his brother Vidur, Gandhari also, Cha, and Swabharaya, his own wife, Dakshinena, by the southern side, Himvataha of the Himalaya mountains, Rishinam of the Rishis, Ashramam in shelter, Gatha he has gone. O king, your uncle Dhritarashtra, his brother Vidur, and his wife Gandhari have gone to the southern side of the Himalaya mountains, where there are shelters of the great sages. So he's revealed to them that where they have gone. So please don't worry. To pacify the mourning Maharaj Yudhishthira, Narada first of all spoke from the philosophical point of view, and then he began to describe the future movements of his uncle, which he could see by his foreseeing powers, and thus began to describe as follows. So he's revealed to them. So one of the concerns of Yudhishthira Maharaj was that Dhritarashtra is blind. How is he going to protect himself? How will he survive? Narad Muni said they will be fine, they will be sheltered and protected. He had the power to see in the future. Srila Prabhupada showed similar abilities to see in the future. They used their abilities to serve a pure devotee like Yudhishthira to encourage him and guide him. So these qualities, these extra powers, they are used to help the devotees. Shrotabhi saptabhi ya vai swar duni saptadha vyadat saptanam pritiye nana sapta srota prachakshate. So Shrotabhi by currents, Saptabhi by 7 divisions, Ya the river, very certainly, Svarduni, the sacred Ganges, Saptadaha, 7 branches, Vyadat, created, Saptanam of the 7, Pritaye for the satisfaction of, Nana various, Sapta Srota, 7 sources, Prachakshate, known by name. The place is called Sapt Asrota divided by 7 because the waters of sacred Ganges were divided into 7 branches. This was done for the satisfaction of the 7 great rishis. Okay, so it says that Narad Muni is telling of the exact place where they have gone. So that's the place called Sapta Srota. There were 7 hermitages of the rishis. The Ganges divided into 7 to provide separate river for each one. This is how powerful the rishis were, and they were given respect by the Ganges river, that it divides itself into 7, so they can all have their own water. It's fantastic. Sanatavanusvanam tismin utva chaganin yatha vidhi abhaksha upashant atma sa aste vigat eshanah. Excuse me. Sanatva, by taking bath, anu savanam, regularly 3 times, morning, noon and evening, tasmin, in that Ganges divided into 7. Hutva, by performing the Agni-hotra sacrifice. Cha, also Agni in the fire. Yathavidi, just according to the tenets of the scripture. Abhaksha, fasting by drinking only water. Upashant, completely controlled. Atma, the gross senses and the subtle mind. Saha, Dhritarashtra, as they would be situated. Vigat, devoid of Ashana, thoughts in relation with family welfare. So on the banks at the Sapta Srot, Dhritarashtra is now engaged in beginning Ashtanga Yoga by bathing 3 times daily. So what a contrast from his previous life. Morning, noon and evening, by performing the Agni-hotra sacrifice with fire and by drinking only water. This helps one control the mind and the senses and frees one completely from thoughts of familial affection. So it seems like fasting is also good, not only to give body a rest, it controls the senses as well. This example of Mahaprabhu, when he's invited by Advaita Acharya to come and take prasad at his house, and he had cooked like hundreds of items, or at least his Sita Rani had cooked, his wife, hundreds of items, and Advaita Acharya, he was like, pushing the Lord to eat more and more and more. And the Lord said, look, for one, a sannyasi, he had taken sannyas by then. He says, for one, a sannyasi should not eat so much opulent food. And secondly, how will I control my senses if I eat too much? Right? So the food is because the eating gives you energy, and that energy has effect on your senses, right? So the more you eat, the more energy there is, and it agitates the senses. And even the Lord said, it's going to agitate my senses. I cannot eat so much, rich food. And obviously Advaita Acharya, he knows that the Lord, he's God himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his argument was that actually, my dear Lord, in Jagannath Puri, you are eating Chappan Bhog 6 times a day. That does not affect your senses. So how can this little food have any effect on you? You are the Lord yourself. You are the Master, the Lord of the universe. So you don't need to worry about these things. Please honor this prasad. So the yoga system is a mechanical way to control the senses and the mind and divert them from matter to spirit. The preliminary processes are the sitting posture, meditation, spiritual thoughts, manipulation of air passing within the body, and gradual situation in trance, facing the absolute person, Paramatma. Such mechanical ways of rising to the spiritual platform prescribe some regulatory principles of taking bath daily 3 times, fasting as far as possible, sitting and concentrating the mind on spiritual matters, and thus gradually becoming free from Vishya or material objectives. Material existence means to be absorbed in the material objective, which is simply illusory. So I think better we just chant 16 rounds than having to do this, because they have the same result. House, country, family, society, children, property, and business are some of the material coverings of the spirit, Atma, and the yoga system helps one to become free from all these illusory thoughts and gradually turn towards the absolute person, Paramatma. By material association and education, we learn simply to concentrate on flimsy things, but yoga is the process of forgetting them altogether. Modern so-called yogis and yoga systems manifest some magical feats, and ignorant persons are attracted by such false things, or they accept the yoga system as a cheap healing process for diseases of the gross body. But factually, the yoga system is the process of learning to forget what we have acquired through the struggle of existence. So Dhritarashtra was all along engaged in improving family affairs by raising the standard of living of his sons, or by usurping the property of the Pandavas for the sake of his own sons. So Dhritarashtra was like very much materially contaminated, so that radiation, that contamination, had to be purified, had to be cleaned. And at that time, this was the recommended process by the sages where they would be staying. So they got all the facilities, they're given all the instructions, now they just have to follow them. Dhritarashtra was all along engaged in improving family affairs. Okay, so these are common affairs for a man grossly materialistic and without knowledge of the spiritual force. He does not see how this can drag one from heaven to hell. By the grace of his younger brother Vidur, Dhritarashtra was enlightened and could see his grossly illusory engagements And by such enlightenment, he was able to leave home for spiritual realization. I mean, he would never have done that by himself. It would not even have occurred to him till his dying day. Shri Naradev was just foretelling the way of his spiritual progress in a place which was sanctified by the flow of the celestial Ganges. Drinking water only without solid food is considered fasting. This is necessary for advancement of spiritual knowledge. A foolish man wants to be a cheap yogi without observing the regulative principles. A man who has no control over the tongue at first can hardly become a yogi. Yogi and bogi are two opposite terms. So most people are bogis. The bogi or the merry man who eats and drinks cannot be a yogi, for a yogi is never allowed to eat and drink unrestrictedly. We may note with profit how Dhritarashtra began his yoga system by drinking water only and sitting calmly in a place with a spiritual atmosphere, deeply absorbed in the thoughts of the Lord Hari, the personality of Godhead. So he is able to do this, first of all, because Vidur has convinced him of what his position is now and what he needs to do, and how he needs to avoid all the reactions that he's likely to get for what he has done so far. So mentally he's prepared. He has understood, he is mentally prepared. And this is the reason why he's able to follow this very difficult process, because he was very much into sense gratification on the bodily platform, and now he's doing this process. That means first you have to be internally prepared. You need a strong body and you need a very strong mind of us as well. Whatever we do in life, we have to be internally ready, as in not just physically ready, we have to be mentally ready to do something as well. Only then we can be successful. So it says here, Narad Muni explains the process he's doing and the benefit of the process. It is a process of learning to forget. Life after life, we are struggling for existence. All these memories that keep us away from Krishna, it's a process of undoing and then cleansing, the focusing. The regulation in every process is important and helps us improve, grow, and also measure. Like here in Ashtanga Yoga, there is a regulation of drinking water only, sitting in a spiritually surcharged place, fasting, and then focusing. We can consider when we are chanting is also a form of yoga. So we doing bhakti yoga. Chanting is just as effective of doing all these processes. We should also be able to sit attentively, not be distracted by unnecessary bodily functions or by surroundings. So it should be the chanting. We are controlling the mind from running away, sitting there attentively. So that's the yoga. The focus, sit long as possible, for example, for 16 rounds, trying to be absorbed in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. With time, the mind becomes less erratic. So we don't have this facility now that we can go away into a forest and get guidance from sages and do the process. Well, the Kali Yuga, we don't have the. I don't think we could really follow it. We don't have the strength to do all these processes on an empty stomach. It's not possible for us. We don't have that power. So for the Kali Yuga, it's recommended that we chant, with due attention, and that is a very powerful process in the Kali Yuga, and that's what's recommended. So it's no need to do all the Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga people are doing only to a certain level. They're not going through the 8 processes, which are supposed to be enlightening. Nobody goes through the 8 processes anymore anyway. So it's not really Ashtanga Yoga anyway. Ashtanga is in 8. They're only doing 1, 2, or 3, and they think they're doing yoga. But yoga means the 8 processes which link you with the Paramatma, with God. So thank you so much. We'll stop here. And very interesting reading, and like to hear from yourselves of what Srila Prabhupada is telling us. And let's start with the Pundikaksh Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Pranam. Hare Krishna, all devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances, all those to Srila Prabhupada. Very few points I picked up from this Prabhuji. One is living entity is not forced to come to this material world, but according to its own desire, its own desire to Lord it all nature. Many people very often curse the Lord whenever any bad situation comes. That why he sent me to this world, but again it's our own choice. It's not the Lord's choice to send you. Lord always wants you to be with him, and whenever Lord comes, he always comes with his associates. So Yadu dynasty, they came to play a role in the Krishna's pastime. So Krishna always have a plan even for them. So before he departs, he is making sure that Yadus also depart from this world in a normal process. So Narada Muni is telling them, that just wait for some more time. I mean, even you will plan to do renunciation, you will plan to go back, but wait until the Lord also departs from this world. And Vidura is being so compassionate toward Dhritarashtra, and every yuga has its own process. Like as we have bhakti in this yuga, whereas performing yajnas in one of the yuga, and yoga in that Dwapar yuga, I think. So, but Vidura has given instructions to Dhritarashtra by which he elevated him very easily, rather than following the process of yoga where you have to control your like good and bad habits, and then control your sitting posture, control the breathing, and doing all those things. But it's an easy process for Dhritarashtra basically, even though leading a bad life, but still he was elevated very easily with the instructions of Vidura. And that shows that association of a devotee, a moment of association of devotee is so important. And whatever process we follow, regulation is very important. So even Bhakti Yoga is an easy process, but still we have to wake up early and try to chant our rounds during the Brahmavata Japa session and engage in chanting and preaching. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Absolutely right. Yeah, so I mean, we even find that difficult, right? Because we're so used to having, being in a comfort zone, waking early in the morning. So it's quite a shocking shock for the body, shock for the mind when we start Krishna consciousness. But we are also undoing all that we have done in this life and in the previous life. So it takes time. Some people say, Prabhuji, I've been doing 16 rounds for 1 year now. Strictly, I have not seen Krishna. So like that, why has not Krishna appeared to me? There's a lot of undoing to be done before we are purified. There's a lot of purification needed, and then even then, it's up to Krishna who he wants to see and when he wants to see them. It's not, we don't decide. Krishna decides. So that should not be the the motivation that if I do this, I want to see Krishna. So Prabhupada says, do things so Krishna wants to see you, right? So leave it to Krishna. When he wants to see you, he will be here in all good time. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Kiran Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Amazing few verses. If Dhritarashtra can be transformed, a blind, immoral, degenerate, ignorant person can be transformed, then there's hope for all of us. It just goes to show that we may have led a very impious life, but the opportunity for God realization is there for all of us. But we have to recognize that we must follow the pure scriptures. Because in 1550 it says that there are many imitations or frauds. And there are fraudulent gurus who masquerade as the manifestation of divinity. Many of them, luckily, are seeing and enjoying prison food at the moment. But we mustn't be fooled by these people. And we must also be mindful that there is literature which is called the Gita as it is, the purest, Vedantic, empirical wisdom that is available to us. Why go for something which is fake when you can have the real thing? And when you can access the real thing, it will show you the 9 processes of being liberated. Dhritarashtra recognized because he needed his younger brother to show him the way. And eventually, these people escaped to the Himalayas, where they were by the Ganges. They were able to drink pure water. They were able to have pure prasad. They were able to have pure thoughts because the environment was pure. They were able to meditate and do pranayams, the breath of life. And that breath of life is the thing that gives us life at the beginning. It sustains us, and at the end, we'll take our last breath. So they had gone to an environment, they were making preparation for being liberated back to Godhead. And we don't have the luxury of going into the caves, going into the mountains, because even the environment that these forests are sustained in are polluted. So the cleansing has to occur within the comforts of our own temple, the temple at home, or the temple in our hearts. And that is done through the chanting, the sankirtan, the worshipping, the association with each other. This is bhakti yoga, the road to liberation. Chant and be free. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yeah, Bhakti Yoga. So still yoga, but we instead of Ashtanga Yoga, we're doing Bhakti Yoga. And not only that, if you're sitting there like a yogi, then you know there's really no relationship with the Lord. And the Lord, He loves relationships. So, Kali Yuga is the best time because the process is easy and there's a lot of interaction involved. We are able to connect with Krishna Himself, not just Paramatma. We are able to connect to Krishna by serving Him, doing things for Him day and night. We can really connect with Krishna, Radha Krishna themselves. So it's totally, a great process in the Kali Yuga for an easier method. Thank you. Ahina Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna everyone. Thank you so much. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. There's a nice reference in one of the earlier verses about imitating gods. And as humans, we have a material tendency to try to be like an imitation god, try to be a controller. We feel that we should, we need to be lording over our own material worlds. And in reality, we are so still dependent on what's naturally provided by the Lord, like food, water, etc., and so much else. These are things that we can't physically create if it's from its natural state. I think as human beings, we tend to kind of forget that, even breathing and the air around us, for example, that maintains us, for example, we kind of completely forget these basic elements. We can't even try to be like God when these basic elements are God-given. And I think in spiritual life, the focus is very much being dependent on the Lord, trying to be dependent on the Lord, knowing that everything is in his hands, and relinquishing, letting go of the outcome. We should still try to, we still need to, take action to work, to maintain ourselves, etc. But it's the outcome itself that we can't control. And it's almost like I was thinking about, it's almost like becoming childlike again, childlike in the hands of Krishna, really. So where the child has, look at a parent-child relationship, the child has no concerns, about when will the next meal come, how will the next meal come, and how will the electricity bill be paid. The child has no concerns in the hands of the father or their parents. Everything is taken care of. And essentially that's almost like the relationship we're trying to nurture here with Krishna. Those are my thoughts. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mata. Yeah, very nice. Thank you. Ajay?
Hare Krishna. Yes, some nice verses here. Starting, well, obviously, earlier ones you had the large money consoling marriage dishes. Shows again the etiquette that you should try to help rather than bring pain. Sometimes that can be tense in Kali Yuga, especially if you don't mean to, you can end up bringing pain to others as well. You should try to be careful, try to help them, especially in this case, obviously, Yudhishthir's mourning. So, but you're able to, not only with his expert vision, is able to help him. You have to understand that they are moving along in a spiritual journey. And the Dhritarashtra's classic example where he actually did have, we know he had the association of Krishna as well, but he had absolutely no idea that this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, this reminds me of the Yadus who actually, Krishna's family as such. They didn't actually know that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They thought him as Paramatma, an incarnation of Paramatma. So Lord gives you that free will, how you want to associate with him. And that's where we are fortunate that we have some understanding that at least that he is the absolute truth. We can never know him fully because the Lord is unlimited. He's always ever expanding. But if there's a possibility that we could be like the Vrajvasis, they just, to them, he's just the object of their love. And that's something we can try to, that's footsteps we'd like to attain, really. That's what Prabhupada's given us, that gift that Krishna can be the object of our love, and then we can share in that love in discussion and offering our gratitude prayers, 9 processes of bhakti. There's so much there for us to do, and we can give this joy to everyone. So it's wonderful. You don't have to be like this Dhritarashtra. You don't have to suffer throughout life. Even if you think you are enjoying, you're actually suffering throughout life. You can enjoy with Krishna. You can enjoy the devotees, and that'd be just a wonderful thing if we could all do that. So yes, I'll leave it at that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Praveen Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Bhaktivedanta Pranam. Yes, very nicely explained by everyone. So for me, it's just what Srila Prabhupada has given us, so we don't have to go through Ashtanga Yoga, but then I can see there are similarities. So Prabhupada has given us, we can say the 4 regulatory principles, and then the simple process of chanting to help us, connect with the Lord. So, and we can see Dhritarashtra, how he led his life, in sense gratification and doing immoral things, supporting his sons doing the wrong things. But because of the mercy of Vidur, exalted devotee, he could connect with the Lord, although he couldn't be a Narottama, but still he managed to, at least connect with the Lord and give up sense gratification. So it's a big lesson for us that it doesn't matter how much material enjoyment you can have, there is no end. So it is better to connect, the earliest we can. Yeah. So it's just to regulate, our eating, sleeping, speaking. So to be in the right, mode, in the right mentality. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Yeah, this is Ashtanga Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. First 2 things they have the same yam niyam. So there's certain things we follow, and there's certain things we avoid. Same in our Krishna consciousness. There are things that are favorable, and there are things that are pratikul vivarjanam, so we avoid them. And so process same. And then we talk about focusing. We are focusing on our chanting, hearing the holy name, and the yogi is focusing on maybe a mantra that they are saying, or they're focusing on the Paramatma, like that, whatever the process is. So very similar, but we don't have to starve ourselves. We can eat prasad, and it's a simple process. What we're doing. Everybody, even children, can do it, and children are doing it. So how easy does it need to be? And but we still, like I said, we, including myself, we still find it difficult, mainly because it has to be done every day, and sometimes you don't have the health, or mentally ready to take on the process. But we should make ourselves stronger physically and mentally, so that we can follow the process without questions. It's like when the mind starts questioning things, then it starts finding excuses. That's when the problem starts. There's some things you have to do. You got to get up and brush your teeth. You got to get out of bed. You got to eat today, and just like that, you got to chant. And there is no argument about it. Should I be chanting? How many rounds should I be chanting? You got to do it. It's the most important task of the day, and that should be done first thing in the morning as much as possible. And even if there's no time, then you can finish later on, but as much as possible do in the day, because that is the most task for us. Krishna not asking too much. I think it's very possible, like I said, even for children. So thank you so much.
It's just prioritizing. So we have to prioritize our spiritual, chanting, like you said. So when we do it first thing, so that should be our priority. That's how we're going to start our day. And then we don't have to worry all day. Oh, I've got still rounds left to do. So
absolutely. Start your day with chanting, spiritualize your mind, your intelligence, your consciousness. So the whole day, you have that mood, because we should be in that mood throughout the day. So everything we do will be with that mindset. Like if you start angry, then everything you do in the day, you just reflect that the anger on others, or in the process that you do. So start with whatever mood you start with. You can carry that through the day, and whatever you're working or doing business or studying, whatever, just have that mindset, the connection with Krishna that you built in the morning, and then same again next day, because the connection is there. But Maya and all these distractions, they pull you away. So you have to keep charging up again, make sure you're well connected. So saying Radharani has been under the weather, so she won't speak today. We'll catch up again on Friday. So Granthra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Prem Nandi Hari Hari Bol, and thank you for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.